Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Tuesday, March 8th. In this episode, we don't kill rival fans. In this episode, Arsenal solidify, Liverpool ride their luck, and Spurs have a laugher, which is nice.
But on the other side of a laugher.
Yeah, but first, Mike, this is my day. How do you experience Manchester derbies? Talk about
me. I watched this one in passing. I had the in-laws in town, so I wasn't super glued to it. But my father-in-law was like, "Is this the Manchester City versus?" I'm like, "Yeah." How the fuck did you know that? Maybe he listens to the show. Hey, Rich. But Man City playing Man United. Yeah. He was like, "Oh, that's the big game, right?" I'm like, yeah. So I kind of was in and out or whatever, but I watched the highlights and from what I could glean, right, it was first of all, we'll get into the whole Ronaldo, where was he thing. Where in the world is Cristiano Ronaldo?
It wouldn't have made a difference.
It wouldn't have, but it speaks to a much deeper schism and trouble at United's door. But anyway,
it's a little bit of juice missing.
City were the City that I expected them to be against Everton a week ago, right? Which, by the way, we didn't really talk about. Scary.
They were good.
Wait, so let's just for 2 seconds. Man City lose to Tottenham twice and then struggle with Everton, and Tottenham beat you guys twice and then crush Everton.
We had been playing badly.
We're champions now, and these are the rules of the transitive property. But I just thought that United bumbly in their own way. I mean, they had the goal to get right back, but right from the jump, it wasn't a matter of if City was going to win, it was going to be by how much.
I didn't experience it that way. Okay. I did say, oh, City need a goal early, and they got that goal early. And I was but again, classic United disaster. Just bad defending as usual. Lindelof jumping out, not affecting the play, and then just De Bruyne being like, oh, look at all this big space. Now, the thing that was interesting was United did not play Cristiano. He's just not there. Edinson Cavani apparently doesn't want to be there and doesn't want to play. He's hurt, whatever. There's a lot of backroom stuff going on. That's the drama. But in the field, the thing that was weird was Pogba and Fernandes played up top as the two. Mm-hmm. And the wingers were Elanga and Sancho. So at first, the first 20 minutes, City were like, okay, we got our goal. What the fuck are you guys doing? Because we'll figure it out, but this is weird. So what was happening was I think City had the instruction to sit back because of the pace. They were afraid to get hit on the counter. So Stones and Laporte were probably 5 yards too deep. And so Fernandes and Pogba were kind of in the 10 spaces causing problems. And City were like, what the fuck is going on? The first 20 minutes, Pep's going nuts like, what? Just move up. What are you doing? Then sort of things settled down. In the last 10 minutes of the first half, everything was fine. Okay. Second half is really where the disaster happens. Now, I will say this, and I think I said it on the show before. United have not played longer than a half of good football since Rangnick came in. They've had moments. They've had 20 minutes. They'd have half an hour. They've had 20 minutes here. They have 20 minutes there. Under Ole, it was always after they were losing, and he just like, come on, boys, go be Man United. That was literally his coaching. And they were like, oh, all right, let's do that. But this is now, they just can't seem to sustain the pressing, the whatever they were really pressing. United figured out. The second half of this game was pathetic. Liverpool against Ole level. Ole's for 20 minutes. The last 25 minutes of the game, United gave up. They only had 8% possession. They literally gave up.
Yeah.
So it was one of these embarrassing things where the United Ponderati, which actually that was a scene, Mika Richards laughing at Keane, having a shouting match with Gary Neville on Sky in the little tiny room. Love that stuff because these ex-United players are always like, this isn't the United way. I'm like, what is this ephemeral United way? Please tell me what it is. Tell me what it is. It's not Conte? No, he could never be the coach. Really? Never? He can never be the coach of Man United. I don't get it. Anyway, so City just dominate and do what they do. And I'm low. What frustrates me is we just can't really, it's really hard to find talking points for City because the levels are so high that when they play well, you're just like, well, that's what they're supposed to do. Right? They had all the things that they're supposed to do, like Bernardo running hard, De Bruyne being incredible. He scored 2 goals, set up the other one. Phil Foden fucking up Harry Maguire, just like bodying him. He bodied Wan-Bissaka for one of the goals. The guy weighs 140 pounds. He gets it. Like, City just did all the City stuff that if they play this way, which is the narrative is that they always play this way, which what you just said is true. They don't always play this way. This is City at their highest levels. And you're just like, well, shit, this is good.
Hey, guys, maybe do that more, right?
It's hard. They can't sustain it.
No, but I think that they, first of all, they got out of jail last week against Everton. They circled this one on the calendar and went, all right, like we think that Liverpool is going to make an example out of West Ham. And we're going to have to, and they didn't. But so they go, okay, we need to make an example out of a questionable, I think is a good way to put them, Manchester United. And so they got up for this game. Like you said, Foden, they have the pride for the shirt, as in so much as any of these fucking red teams. And anytime they take a shit and they package it in a box, they're like, oh my God, isn't this the most wonderful? Look at Jurgen Klopp and his fist pumps in the Klopp. Oh my God, isn't that so whimsical and wonderful and all that great bullshit?
City bring effort.
They have it. They just don't get credit for it.
Yes. Well, I think and we can go through it all. Like, it doesn't have Anfield. That's what's so frustrating.
No, well, in a sense, sort of.
Yes.
They don't have 40 years of equity. That's all it is.
The City fans were in good voice. They did a full stadium Poznan. That's how disrespectful they were to Steven United. So the Poznan, for those who don't know, all the fans link arms, turn around, and jump up and down. So you don't even have to watch the game anymore. You don't care.
Right, because it's effectively, we're just here having
so it
a good
was
time.
like half Mexican wave, half Poznan, which is pretty fucking dope. That takes a lot of weird coordination. So City fans are not up for Friday nights, for Champions League nights. This is our favorite game because we're beaten.
The disrespect you felt from the other side of town. Right. You're giving it back to them for history. In spades.
Like it's 10-year-olds who are now in their 30s who are just like, my whole childhood was abuse for being a shitty City fan.
You're going to hear it today, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Today's the day, right? Yeah. Today's the day. Where United fans are just like, yeah, we're bad at this point. But for City fans, this is a big day. We're still not there. We still don't care about European nights. This game still matters a lot. Like, it's still really important. Mm-hmm. It's not just another game. So let me go through the scores, and we'll get into other things because I got excited, but I'm going to run through the scores. Jesse Marsch and Leeds, they play really well. They deserve to win, but Leicester and your boy, Mr. Harvey Barnes, gets a win. They win one in a smash and grab at home. Leeds looking good. I think I feel better about them now. Speaking of not looking good, Norwich stomped Brentford. Tony hat trick. I told you Tony was going to score a hat trick. I told you Brentford were going to be fine. They are fine. Wolves lose to Palace. The shine has gone off the Wolves. The XG machine has left Wolves. Wolves, after being beaten 2 out of their last 3, they're now not a top 4 team. They're going to sit where they are. Speaking of sitting where they are, Aston Villa smashed Southampton. Ooh. Southampton have games like this in them. They were on a 6-game unbeaten run. They're looking good, and then they drop a 4 spot on you. I'm surprised it wasn't 9. Coutinho, Ings, Watkins, all together, all playing together, first time. Looking good for Villa. Hopefully we'll see that again. Newcastle continue the renaissance. Eddie Howe, coach of the year. They defeat my beloved Brighton, scoring 2 early goals. But then Brighton hang on, but they don't quite get it together. But Brighton did play well. Then Liverpool gets so fucking lucky against West Ham. It boggles the mind. We'll talk about this game in a minute. They win 1-0. Sadio Mane gets it done. There were 2 gaping chances. One from Fornals, one from Lanzini. This game should have been a draw at a minimum. Arsenal win 3-2 versus Watford. It's not as close as that scoreline would suggest. City 4-1. And your beloved Tottenham Hotspur smash Everton. And I think that that performance, that puts Everton in trouble and Frank Lampard on the hot seat.
Yeah, they've been in trouble. I think Frank Lampard should feel some heat under his ass. As listen, Harry Kane did Harry Kane things.
He was
Dejan
really good.
Kulusevski was
really
phenomenal today.
Really good. Really good.
Really good. But Everton being bad was the headline in this game.
They were bad.
Okay.
Really bad.
Uncoordinated, unmotivated, and then just holes at the back like Swiss cheese. And you saw it on I think the third goal where Kane breaks free, and you're like, who the fuck's idea was that? Like hey.
Good pass. Good pass. Good pass from Doherty.
Great pass from Doherty. How do you just like? I understand if like Sonny comes off the left and Kane does that thing where he suckers you in, but Kane's the guy making the run. How do you lose him? So we'll go deeper into Everton later in the show, but
I have one person to talk about. Michael Keane is the worst defender in the fucking league. That he can play at Everton at this point is a joke. It's laughable. He literally makes a mistake that leads to a goal every game. Bad. You know what he is? He's a shit Harry Maguire, and Harry Maguire's shit.
No. He's gotten worse. He was a shit Harry Maguire a month and a half ago. Now he's something far, far worse.
I mean, they have I'm not going to disrespect the championship. There's better teams. Teams have better defense in the championship than Everton.
Yeah. No.
And if I ever see Jordan Pickford play for England again, then Southgate should
He was bad. So the first, so 15 minutes in.
We're into Spurs now.
All right, fuck it. 15 minutes in, it's 2-0. The first one was an own goal from Michael Keane that on first touch, I thought Kane got it. I was like, wow, that was awesome.
That was Michael Keane being Michael Keane.
Rocket ship into the top corner. After he loses Kane on the near post, and then a ball comes in that he couldn't possibly get to, but he does. So 1-0 right off the jump, and you're like, oh boy, this could get okay. Buckle up, guys. And then the second goal, again, it's Son's away. There's just patches, and by patches I mean 30 to 40 yards of just naked green.
And the other thing I'll take that. The line is not in line. So all these things, guys are playing guys offside, and there's someone not offside. You're like, no, he's fine. What are you doing?
So Sonny's away. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. It was Kulusevski, who, again, his first of 2 assists on the day. He was unbelievable.
He was really good.
And then Son's gone, and it's a ball that Pickford should stop. So, and then I already talked about the third one with Kane, where how do you, again, I understand if you lose Son because he's coming off the wing or whatever. Harry Kane literally ran right through the middle of the goddamn field. Like literally 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And then the whole secondary was like, no, just kidding.
The other thing I noticed, and this is never going to give credit. They'll never give credit to this, and they don't, because narrative is too hard to deal with. All those goals like built out from the back, all of them, as though it's Manchester City. Now it's built out from the back with a long ball into Kane. So they'll play, get it back to Lloris, and then he'll hoof it to Kane with the runners running off him. So it was really good. But it looked like Leeds out there. That's how bad the defense at Everton.
Well, hey, I mean, aggregate in the last 2 games, Spurs are 9-0, right? Against Leeds and Everton, who, may I remind you, and maybe this will take us into the relegation conversation, 16-17, and not looking good, right? So Leeds, you mentioned, I think that they had to part ways with Bielsa. I think they might have at the right time. There's still time to pull out of this.
They should have beat Leicester, for sure.
Yes, but I'm worried for them. I think that they're in a better spot than Everton, despite the fact that Everton has 2 games still in hand. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm scared for them.
The relegation fight is.
It's so weird how it's morphed, right? And we always say 1 or 2 wins can change everything. And Brentford getting that win, it's like, right? Like Brentford's okay for now. Yeah. For now.
Let's go through that top list though. Let's just make sure we have everything clear and set the stage. Yeah. What I kept thinking about, so Liverpool gets their win 1-0 at home versus West Ham. West Ham were really good. They should be proud of themselves. They did not have Declan Rice, and they really should have got something out of that game. Yep. Liverpool know it. They cheered like it was a big win. And then I go to the City game. I'm not going to go through it again, but all I kept thinking in the back half of the game is pour it on. Goal difference is going to matter.
Goal difference. Absolutely. And so that's why I thought they would put 7 past Everton last week, but they're going to. When they feel apathy, and this is what I saw out of Everton today, when they sense apathy, They are sharks with blood in the water, and they're just going to go and go and go. You know why? Pep has no chill. He is ruthless.
Yes.
He will shove your heart through your ass and then show it to your mother. And it's gonna be bad. There's gonna be some teams that are just
someone is
really
gonna
hurt feelings.
Someone is gonna catch a body from City really soon.
Yeah.
No,
and we're talking like 6 or 7.
Grealish played. Everybody played really well. It was a really good performance by City. Grealish was good, and City was and
it could be Burnley.
It could be Burnley. So we've got that in place. So that we're still 6 points. Liverpool with the game in hand, still on the charge to that big game, April 10th, when the worlds will collide. The Super Classico, the good versus evil, the biggest game in the world. They have taken the mantle from Ronaldo's Real and Messi's Barca. I think City Liverpool is now the biggest game in the world. If you can find a better game, let me know. But that is now the game in the world. So if you're new to this game and you're just following us along and you want to find and see the highest level football you can watch, mark your calendar, April 10th.
We've got 32 days to come up with like a good name for this derby.
Yeah,
we do. Up with it.
We should probably talk about the Chelsea
game.
Pool. Yeah, the Chelsea-Burnley game. First half, Burnley were really good.
They were hanging in.
And then Chelsea was like, "You're Burnley, fuck off," and they just stomped them. I don't think Lukaku will ever play again. I think he's had enough. I didn't see much from Burnley. This was kind of disappointing. I thought the second half was laughable. They didn't really get close. Havertz was good. We've been talking about Havertz a little bit.
He's really coming into his own this season.
Yeah, I think that front three, the Havertz, Pulisic, Mount group, that's a good group. They make sense together because they're all the same, so they can all move around together.
Exactly. And that's when Pulisic is at his best, right? We see him basically holding court for the U.S. men's national team where he is not just the centerpiece, but he's able to say, I'm going to come over here. Not unlike how Kane always attracts eyeballs from the opposing defense. Yeah. So if he has that creative freedom in the front, attacking midfield, then you begin to have trouble with him because it's effectively like you have 3 Mason Mounts or 3 Christian Pulisic.
The other piece about those 3, they're all the same age. There's got to be like cultural connection. You got to think about these things. Havertz, Pulisic, Mount, all the same age. The English speaker, Pulisic, having been in Germany. There's some connection there that I think is like. I think the other underrated piece is getting. Maybe they haven't gotten Chilwell back, but Reece James makes a difference. He scored their opening goal, and then it sort of just poured in. But the less said about Chelsea, the better. They're locked onto their spot. They do have to have a little bit of worry if they wobble. Will Arsenal catch them? Can they fall in? They're not going to fall. They're not going to fall out of that spot.
So we talked Arsenal about it on Thursday with our pal Ollie Carpenter of Goalytics, who again, thank you Ollie for coming on the show. It was great chatting with him. We got into this. He was excited because he was like, "Oh, we get to talk about the actual on-field stuff too. It's not just the Roman Abramovich shit," which he was so enlightening to kind of spell that out. But I asked him, and I was saying, well, how do you perceive this to maybe affect the on-field results? And he even said, like, Luton Town gave them problems because some of that stuff was happening like as the lineup came out, right? So. So they really had their heads turned, and I thought that Burnley would give them a fight, and frankly, they did. For half. Yeah, for a half. Look, I was coming fresh off of the Burnley experience, so I was like, hey, this may not be so fun for you right now. Yeah. But then he and I kind of walked through what effectively the next month or so looks like for Chelsea, and we really. He sounded like you a little bit in the sense that he was like, well, I don't know. It's like always sort of the pensive, we're going to fuck this up. But there were points that but that's
football. That's how you.
Yes. But there were points that like you've got to take, not just Burnley. They play Norwich next. They will have a couple of other cup games to probably turn their head a little bit. But at the same time, like, they'll be okay. And these are games that they likely should win. And then at the tail end of the season, the difficulty does ramp up significantly. They've got West Ham. They've got, Everton's going to be a laugher for them, I suppose. But Wolves, games where you go, and Man United, games where you go, you could drop these points 100%. So So yeah, I mean, it's going to be something where I don't think they're in trouble for the third spot.
They're too good. They're so much better than the other teams.
They really are.
That top three is so much better. Like,
look,
no, you wouldn't. Would you? If Arsenal and Chelsea had to play 10 times, how many times would Chelsea beat them? 7?
Oh, sorry. Would Chelsea? Yeah, 7. Yes, yeah. It's exactly the number.
Right.
So, I said 3 for Arsenal. So yes.
Right.
No, not even. Chelsea would win 7, draw 1, and lose 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key thing with Chelsea is their problems are fluidity and scoring, and I think it's more of a midfield problem. Like, their defense is in line with City's and Liverpool's. Their problem is their scoring is not. They can't score with them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they're if the XGs are in the 20s for all those three. And when you play Chelsea and you see it, you could see it in the I thought the Carabao Cup final was really indicative. This is a really good team. It can shut down Liverpool, which is the highest scoring team in the world, period. It's not, they're like Liverpool's front four now has depth, right? Now it's Mane, it's Salah,
4.5.
it's Jota, it's Diaz.
Yeah.
And then their sixth guy is Origi, who, oh, by the way, you need a goal late. He just somehow finds a way to do it at least once a season, right? So they're really, really good. And Chelsea shut them down. And they could have won that Carabao Cup very, very fucking
sure.
easily.
But I think the larger point is they are who we thought they were, right? Like the top two of the top two is Chelsea still. Look, if they wobbled against Burnley, okay. Yeah, sure. Then Arsenal are 3 points off the pace with a game in hand. Maybe conceivable without question.
And then we
Chelsea's the third team.
Yeah. And now Arsenal are staking their claim.
They are there. The proverbial driver's seat. And I cannot believe that on March 8th, we're sitting here saying this. There is a long way to go, but look at it this way. Look at the tone in which we are considering United. And by the way, a massive, massive game coming up next weekend that we'll detail on Thursday between Spurs and United at Old Trafford, which could signal who the real challenger for Arsenal is. And I don't mean to disrespect West Ham, but fuck you for a minute. Arsenal are the kings in the castle who need to be actively dethroned. Holy shit, where are we? What year is it? Right.
Well, I think the key thing with Arsenal is, and I've been talking about it all season, they're the younger team. They've been playing the youngest lineups all season. Yep. They have the growth going in. They have a set lineup. All of a sudden, there is a set group that plays. They don't have any depth. Like if they lost Lacazette, I think they'd be in trouble. If they lost Ben White, I think they'd be in trouble. If they lost Gabriel, I think they'd be in trouble. There's not a lot of depth in the group. But they don't have their Monday. They're now once a week. They got no extra games. They're out of the FA Cup. They're out of the League Cup. They got no Europe. They're just playing the games. And so they're really in the driver's seat. There's not even Arsenal fan TV things anymore because, half of them are in jail or murdered or stalked their wives. And the other ones are protesting Palestine and have their own channels. The whole thing is now very narrow and very like Arsenal are not banter club anymore. They're just like, we're young.
We'll see about that.
We have nothing to lose. They can lose the games you'd expect them to lose and still finish in the top 4.
So here's where I want to go on Arsenal. Okay. This is going to dovetail into our conversation about Manchester United because they have had good performances, but largely, who have they beaten
Nobody.
In the last 2 months?
Okay, they don't have to beat anybody.
You don't. No, in fact, and this is my main gripe about Tottenham Hotspur, probably ever, that you just don't pick up the free points.
Yeah.
It's a college basketball team that just can't hit the free throws, and they act like they're surprised when they lose to a 14 seed in March.
Their best win is Wolves.
Exactly. They beat a completely hapless Brentford. They drew scoreless against Burnley.
But that was that was the Burnley turnaround point. So that 0-0 is not as bad as it used to be.
They played pretty tough, but they couldn't get that done. Beat the shit out of Norwich. Beat the shit out of Leeds. A good win against West Ham. We're going all the way back to December 15th now, though.
That was a good win. Yes.
To Everton. They beat Southampton, which is a good win. But okay, what am I mentioning here aside from City? Not a lot of brand names.
Nope.
Oh, where are they, you ask? I don't know. Postponed games at the Bridge and at Tottenham await you. Arsenal.
Yeah, for sure.
Liverpool is coming to your house in a week, right? You've got
Brighton,
Leicester,
who
Liverpool.
fucking kicked their ass. Palace, who are really good. They got a tough run. A lot of tough games.
Huge. Yeah. So as we talked about, April 10th in the context of the title race, it is extremely likely that we will have a clear-cut picture of the top four at that point. And maybe not.
You know what? They have a really tough run.
A really tough run. Listen, this schedule that you're looking at, by the way, March 13th at home against Leicester City, March 16th at home against Liverpool, March 19th away to Villa, April 4th away to Palace, April 9th at home Brighton. 5 games in a row, all difficult opponents, does not include playing away to Chelsea and playing away to Tottenham, your 2 biggest rivals who are in and around the title, the top 4 race with you. And now let's keep in mind that Tottenham game could be I don't know when it's going to be scheduled yet. It hasn't been, but it could be the inflection point for who has the inside race in the last, call it, month of the season for the 4th spot in Champions League. So, I mean,
but they did what they were supposed to do.
Oh, no, absolutely. And full marks to them for going out and getting those points.
Yeah.
But the rubber's going to meet in the road, and we'll find out who Arsenal really are. We've been kissing their ass for about a month and a half, and I'm not enjoying it. But we're about to find out
before we go, when Ole got fired from United, we looked at the schedule and literally marked the City game as the game.
Yep.
I think you and I both were like, they could get every single point here.
How many
points the math
on offer?
There were 48 points on offer, and United got the fucking Connecticut compromise of 30 points.
We did mix it into the show.
I made it.
So out of 16 games.
Yeah.
So that's almost half the schedule. It's about 45%. It's about 3/5. It's about 40% of the schedule. And so they got 60% of the points from that stretch. Yeah. That's not good.
Yeah, it needed to be 38.
Yeah.
Because they got too many draws, only 2 losses. But they were not name brand losses. Like they're gonna look at their season when they missed the top 4 by 4 points and be like, we dropped 4 points to Watford and they're going down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now lucky for them that not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 teams around them have all shit the bed almost equally, with the exception of Arsenal, who shit the bed early on and have surged now, right? So
the thing is with United, to me, is just like there's no there. There's nothing for them to hang their hat on. Like there's nothing that says, oh, there's this young player who's gonna pick them up. There's no like, oh, but they're playing well, they're just not getting results. There's nothing there.
Well, they put all their eggs in a 37-year-old basket.
Yeah. And kind of in a weird way,
doesn't want to be there.
They're going to play you guys on Saturday, and then Liverpool away. By the way, they could get destroyed by Liverpool badly.
Oh, wow. That could get really, really graphic.
At Anfield, that's going to be a mauling.
That could get graphic. Oh, dear.
And then they have Chelsea towards the end. That's going to go real. They have a tough run. By the way, Crystal Palace is just there to fuck everyone's season up. They really are. They're sitting in the top half of the table right now. You know, they're fucking good.
I mean, there's 5 teams on 33 points, 4 teams on 33 points. But
I mean, it's a good. Those middle teams, like you don't want to fuck with Villa.
It's funny because like there's really nothing. There's nothing at stake between Brighton and Southampton that spans 9th through 13th. But I would argue they're having the most fun this season.
Who, Southampton or Brighton?
I don't know. Anybody in that stretch. They're like, hey, man, we're not going down. Let's just fuck people up.
Oh, yeah, that group? Lose? Oh, the fun group? The fun bunch?
What do we have to lose? Oh, nothing? Oh, okay.
And by the way, Newcastle just joined that party. They're now in the fun party.
Their invite got lost in the mail, but they know the address. So
yeah. I guess you're talking about that 5-point gap between 14 and 13. That 13 to 8 spot, that's a fun place.
Absolutely.
14 to 9, that whole Southampton, Palace, Villa, Leicester, and Brighton. That's the fun group. That's the fun bunch.
Leicester, if you put it in high school party terms, Leicester, the older brother that bought the booze that's just like high in his room, hates being there.
Yeah.
Because he's got an ankle bracelet on house arrest and he can't go anywhere. Aston Villa are like the virgins who are like just trying to make out with a chick for the first time. I
feel like they're the Chiefs. It's kind of got a hockey team vibe about that group.
Like the Charlestown Chiefs?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I get that vibe. Well, all right. So to go back to the metaphor, right? Crystal Palace are like the kid who has like the drugs his older sister gave him and is like, yo, guys,
Crystal Palace are burners.
Yeah, but they're like, hey, I haven't tried these yet. You guys want to fuck around with them and see what happens?
Yeah, they're like McLovin.
Southampton brought a gun to the party for no reason and ended up shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah. They get weird. They're the guys who like tell you weird stories about hurting animals. You're like, that's fucking weird, dude.
Yeah, man.
Like, what do you mean?
Stop doing that. Stop doing that.
Why do you have fucking snuff films? Right? Because they get blown out once in a while. You're like, whoa, God. That was fucking intense. Why'd you guys just give up 9 goals?
Wolves has their parents' car, but they drive drunk and crash it. Yeah. And that's basically all the kids at the party, right? Like,
what about Villa? What's Villa up to?
Villa's like the virgin. They're like, hey, can I grab some boob tonight? Like they're like,
I don't know that I think that Gerard being super intense thing. There's something there with like he's like the guy who's just like drinking for the first time. I guess a virgin. I guess
that's what I mean. Yeah, they're Michael Cera in Superbad, not Jonah Hill, right?
So that mid-table group, I like that group. I don't know where Brighton fits in. They're kind of over it. They're like 5th year senior, like. Yeah, man. I know.
I got left back again.
Yeah. I kind of like them. Anyway, we haven't got the foreign exchange student who's not in there. We haven't found that character in the show. Maybe that's Wolves.
That's Newcastle. No, with the new owner.
Yeah, but they're not there yet. They're not there yet.
Yeah, no.
I do like where they are. So that group is there, and then there's that relegation battle that we keep talking about. I do like the Jesse Marsch thing. That has gone well. That's exciting. They seem to be playing well.
But wait, hold on. Leeds don't just get a pass because they have Jesse Marsch now, and we want them to do well because we want him to do well. If Jesse Marsch gets relegated with Leeds, that
he stays with them.
Okay, regardless, that speaks poorly of American soccer on the global stage. It just does. I don't like it. It's a fact, right? They'll go, oh, that stupid Yank brought us down, right? And I'm not saying it's even fair or true. Here's what the facts are, right? They have 27 games played. They have 23 points. But in this context of this battle, they lose the tiebreaker to literally every team other than Norwich. They have a minus 32 goal difference. That's not going to get dramatically better. If they can get it to minus 30 by the end of the season, that means they'll probably stay up because they'll probably have enough points. But if it comes down to the tiebreaker between, frankly, Brentford, Leeds, Everton, and Burnley, they are not in the driver's seat on that front. So that's the thing that scares me about them. I want them to do well. I want Marsch to keep them up.
Die? What the fuck happened to that?
Yeah, dude? He's just sitting there at every game. He looks perfectly fucking healthy to me. I'm kidding. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But
let's see. They've got Villa, Norwich, Wolves, Southampton, Watford. They still have people in their group to play. Like, they've got to beat fucking Norwich. They've got to beat Watford. That's 2 wins right there. And then hope that they can. The body you were talking about is City. It's coming up April 30th. They're gonna get killed.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. There are games where they're gonna lose by a comfortable margin, and that 32 is only gonna get worse. So I almost at this point, you don't care about goal difference. You're trying to scratch out draws. But if you have like an Everton did today where it's like 3-0, don't stop. Don't play defensive. Don't be like, oh, we can't give up 2 more goals. Who gives a shit?
No, fuck it. Just go get it. Yeah. That's how they have been playing. I do think like I said, like the James time at striker, it's just, he just can't finish. It's just like he gets into position and he just shoots wide. It's just, it's brutal. They just can't seem to get out of their own way. Where do you want to go here? We've got our top 4. We've done the relegation battle. We've got games on Thursday that we won't be able to talk about that'll have happened because they're happening. It's a lot of makeup games. Those makeup games are like Norwich, Chelsea.
Those are not. I wouldn't talk about them if we had a show on Thursday morning. Wolves and Watford, Leeds and Aston Villa, Southampton, Newcastle, Norwich and Chelsea.
Not great games. Yeah,
look,
not
you
a
got
great group.
you got some of our party boys in there, but I don't.
Yeah, but they're not playing each other, which is the problem.
Yeah, right.
Although Newcastle Southampton will be good, but I think at this point,
that's
Newcastle
the one you could probably watch.
Newcastle,
and I'm curious to see what Leeds can do. Aston Villa is a good test for Leeds because of who they might become. Because Villa seems to be putting all the pieces together. They are very formidable, especially from an attacking sense. And Leeds are still. We don't really know what Marsch is going to be able to do with that. So this is a game where the points are on offer, and we don't know if they'll get them.
We know one thing: they do not fucking do that stupid man marking bullshit.
Right.
So they immediately didn't give up. They should have beat Leicester, and they basically gave up a goal because of a mistake. And it was less than their normal mistakes because they've been giving up threes, but they only gave up one, which was nice for them. I think the Champions League comes back next week.
Today. Yeah, you play. So these are games where you're like, there's Liverpool at home up 2-0 against Inter. What do we think is going to happen there? Man City at home up 5-0. Speaking of bodies, there might be one on the ground in the Etihad on Wednesday. And then PSG Madrid is the really interesting one on Wednesday. And I should say I missed Bayern versus RB Salzburg 1-1. So we've got one good game each day. Bayern and Salzburg going back to the Allianz, tied at 1. Obviously, away goals don't matter, so it's a square game going into it. I'm hopeful that Salzburg can win. I don't really have a good reason for that.
That would be amazing. It's not.
It would be good. It would be a great story.
I do think the game next week are really like season-defining games for United and Atletico. That's next week. Yeah. Season-defining Juve versus Villarreal.
Oh yeah,
for those teams.
It will define Juve's season if they lose. It may not define Villarreal's season if they
No, they're fine. They'll be over the moon. But for you, that United,
if they win, it is a statement of intent for them, right?
I feel like Atletico versus Man United is like that's a cage match. That's like loser leaves town.
Yeah.
Like Rangnick's season is a complete catastrophe, and Simeone, if he loses his job and goes to United. Why isn't Simeone to United an option?
Because they lived through Mourinho already, and they don't.
Yeah, but at least he has a project. He has a way of playing. He has a cholismo.
I think he's a more charismatic Jose.
They can't be more charismatic than Jose Mourinho.
Well, no. Jose Mourinho pretends he's charismatic. He's just a shit Bond villain, right? Like Diego Simeone is
a Bond villain.
Well, yeah, but he creates havoc, and it's exciting, boring football. I think.
Yeah, I don't think that he would.
The other thing I would say is that he has lived in La Liga for so long that he was throwing punches at peak Real and peak Barca. And now that he's where he is,
they won the league last season.
I know.
Yeah.
What I'm saying though is I think he would struggle with the move to the Premier League because he has been swimming. He swam with sharks for years.
Yeah, but he plays Premier League football already in La Liga.
Yeah, he plays Burnley Premier League football though. What I'm saying is in the age of, we talked about it earlier in the season.
Is it over? Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Over. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many attacking teams. They're going to get got. They'll smoke a couple of teams on the counter. Absolutely. Because they're a very, very, very good Burnley. But I don't know that I want that back in the league in bigger numbers, especially at a club like United. Yeah. And additionally, I don't know how many players would throw a hissy fit on United. So you think they're discombobulated now. Simeone comes in, he's got the gravitas. It's akin to Gerrard walking in the Villa room. Like, I'm fucking Diego Simeone. I can show you the way.
You know what's funny? And it would never happen. United need Gerrard to be their manager.
Wow.
They need that. Chills. If there was I did too. If like a young, really into it, won in Scotland. He's basically Alex Ferguson. He went to Scotland and won.
So it's like alternate reality.
Right. Like if he could be the United manager, he's actually what they need, right? Like Arteta, those types, those from the club to the, you know what I mean? Like really into it, really intense, really cares, won't take shit from the fans, in charge, just like, I'm here, this is happening, I'm young, I get this, right? Like, I don't think United, for all those pundits that they have everywhere, none of them are good managers. Like, Sir Alex didn't create good managers. You have to have it. Like, maybe it was gonna be Giggs, and he ended up, I think he's in jail. I think he did some raping.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He was being groomed, and I think he was maybe grooming
and then he was
himself.
grooming other people. Yeah. Ooh, I don't know. I don't even know what happened.
I don't either. I don't want
to know either. Yeah, I mean, we talked before the show whether we should talk about the violence in Mexico, and it's so bad that we can't even talk about it.
Well, listen, we like to keep the show light and have a good time with it, but like
there's a war, and then there's like 18 people died.
This is
just
grotesque.
Getting beaten in a stadium in Mexico.
Think about this, right? Like, there's such a culture for this that you go to a football match and you are intending to inflict bodily harm on somebody. I'm not going to say that I haven't felt that way at Rangers Islanders games. I'm not going to say that I haven't felt that way at Yankees Red Sox games.
We just don't have it in this country. It's just not a concept.
No, what we have is rules and fucking police is what we have. Okay? So that's one. But two,
but we don't organize it out of the stadium.
But that's exactly it, right? Like in so much as like it's so old American, like 80s, like, hey man, you want to step outside? It's like, no. We're all gonna step outside, and then we're gonna just do it inside too, right?
Yeah, it was really bad. It's 18 people. If you don't know, it's Atlas versus Cuartera. I don't know the name of the team, but I picked it up late on Sunday or Saturday, and I was just like, this is the worst thing I've ever. It's the worst I've seen. It's like taking the bomba. It's like taking River versus Boca, and then just not having police.
Yeah, right. And that's kind of where I'd like to draw the attention. Like, the acts of these people is grotesque to the sense that I would recommend you don't watch it and read as little about it as possible.
It's bad.
It is horrifying, right?
It's sorry. In terms of Premier League people, if you know, it's not Hillsborough in terms of the brutality of those people dying. It's more like Heysel, where people got crushed and the Juve fans, and there was more fighting. It's just bad. It's like,
and there's
but it's not even like a stadium disaster. It's just fighting.
No, it's a humanity disaster, which for me is
worse.
Again, like you said, the sheer numbers aren't worse, and it's not a dick measuring contest, but in the manner in which this was carried out, this is homicides.
Yes,
this is bare-handed homicides.
Yes,
and I just want to stress that is the most jarring idea.
Yeah,
for fans of any club, any sport, any team.
Yeah,
to have. Listen, there's fights.
You go to
brawls,
the game
drunk
and come
people.
home dead.
You get punched in the face, and that's fine. I get it. Whatever. There wasn't even so much as like. Usually, to put it into context in the U.S., specifically in the NFL, right? You see a fat guy start yelling shit at a guy with another team's jersey, and they get into it from a few rows away. The guy climbs up a few rows, punches him in the face. What does everybody else do right now? They take out their cell phones and they record it, whatever.
Show up.
Well, and then they get involved or whatever. But there's always 15 different camera angles of it, right? Everybody it was like literally somebody hit somebody. It was magnifying the order in which I can't stress enough how horrible this all was, because it was literally everyone simultaneously looked at it as an invitation to cause significant bodily harm to people. And where you find, like, I've been in scraps and whatever. I'm not, oh, cool, Mike, you fucking got in a fight, asshole. No, but like the point is, like, at some level, they're like, when you get into that primal state, all sense leaves your body, but at some point it does have to return. And that's the thing that is just, it makes my stomach turn. Is that
gotta be a level of drunkenness beyond comprehension.
Yeah, but okay, sure. But even still, at some point, like the idea of mercy to whoever was being beaten, trampled, dragged, whatever,
it's
never
the
ever occurred.
The
to
worst
anybody.
footage is literally people stripped naked and then getting stomped while lifeless.
It's just jarring.
Anyway, so that's bad for Mexico.
They suspended the whole league.
Did they?
Yes.
Oh, good. That's what should happen.
I agree completely.
I'm
but
not, like now it's just like, oh, MLS and Liga MX should mix together. No, they shouldn't.
No, they fucking shouldn't.
Never.
Dude, please don't. I went to an Orlando City game a couple months ago, and it's extremely, and this is how MLS positions itself, right or wrong. It's extremely family friendly.
Yeah.
Bring your kids, have a good time, this and that. Are you out of your motherfucking mind? It's literally like a bizarro planet facing your wholesome, lovely,
we're
family friendly.
We're not ready. American soccer fans are not ready.
Goddamn idea.
We're not ready.
If you took the three biggest rivalries in any sport in the U.S. and you melded them into one rivalry and you played twice a year, once at my house and once at yours, and then you got everybody liquored on tequila and sent them into a rage against each other.
I think the closest it could have got, I think Yankees Red Sox in certain eras in the stands
70s.
Pretty bad.
In the 70s. And in the
I think American sports, we had it. We had a heavy drinking and fighting at ball games. I mean, Bruins in the stands against the Rangers and the Rangers. I mean,
and the malice at the palace with the NBA.
We had that stuff, but we made sure because of capitalism that shit doesn't happen. Because it's not good for,
can't be killing
it's bad for business. Just like the Chinese are like, hey, Russia, can you ixnay on the Ukraine say? Because we got this road we're trying to build and you guys are fucking the whole thing up. We'll support you. Will you stop killing these fucking Ukrainians? This is a bad idea. It's bad for business. Don't do this. Anyway, so everybody doesn't want, that's why like capitalism is the best because it's just like, whoa. Can you not kill the people?
Don't step on our profits, please. Please. Step over there. Yeah. Take it easy. Yeah. Mind the green arrow going up.
It's all good to abuse people and workers and and break unions. That's fine. But when the war is with white people, just not with the white people. No wars with Europe. Just please don't do this. These are not people we want to get involved in. So we went to Mexico. We got the war. The Premier League is not a war. It is not a problem.
War of attrition.
I do hate Liverpool fans, but I don't want to fight them. And I like to talk about their teams
here's the
with
thing.
them.
I would like to fight them, but at some fucking point, after we punched each other in the face a few times, I'd be like, all right, that's enough of that. I got it out of my system. I wouldn't stomp on their fucking heads. I wouldn't drag their lifeless bodies down, or I would hope vice versa, right? I know some people who I fucking hate who have Liverpool fan stickers, tattoos, whatever. In fact, I saw one of the people driving down my street with an Anfield Road license plate on the front and a YNWA fucking decal on the back. And I went, I hope a pole falls through that guy's ceiling of his fucking car right now.
What are you doing in Orlando?
That's a transient city. But I didn't actually mean the part about the pole. Would it have been funny? Yeah, a little bit. But I don't want these people to actually physically cease to exist. I want them to be out of I prefer not to look at them. I think they bring down the property value, but
I would rather that Lanzini goal go in than any of them die, honestly. Fucking Lanzini.
Yeah, right.
What are you doing? Goddamn Argentinian. We have gone off the rails on the episode. That's what's good about this show. Sometimes things go nutty. We talked about all the games. We talked about games that are coming. We talked about the Champions League. We talked about violence in Mexico. We talked anti-war. We are ready for anything. Write things in the comments. I'm going to end the show. That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network, but we are not the attack wing of the Chop Sports Network. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're listening on Apple or anything else, please write and review the show so that we don't have to come and beat you up or hit you with a pipe or invade your country. We might invade your country if there are Chinese troops on.
Oh my God.